It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Lunge.
Hello,
Published author. How you doing? I haven't said it in a while.
Yes.
I like the hair.
Thank you so
I
much.
think it's slightly different, right?
Yes, Mr. Fuller does a fantastic job of styling this
is
hair.
just beautiful. Compared to last week, fantastic.
Thank you.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I'm just really excited for my PA. She is an advocate for autism. So she has a younger brother who's autistic. And that young girl, she's just, what, 23, 24, taking that cause, you know, fully. She writes about it, she blogs about it. And today she's going to be talking at the Guarantee Trust annual conference on autism. I'm so proud of her. She's also an author of like 10 books. You know, and she's such a young, intelligent girl. So Toyi, I'm so proud of you, and I wish you all the best today.
Fantastic.
Like attract like.
talking about PAs, I might get pregnant. Talking about like attract.
Yes.
You know, I guess if you go around, you can't get pregnant. So she just delivered the baby.
Congratulations to us.
So I'm really happy for her.
Congratulations, Agnes.
Yes.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. Had an amazing time on Saturday. We set out to host a few. I've never done a physical training for realtors of Rep 360, so we did a physical training for our realtors, and many people wanted to come, but we only had capacity for 30. And despite the rain, when I saw it raining on Saturday morning, I felt like, these people will not show up. People showed up, and it was a full blast. Had a really interesting time, and you know, everybody was saying,
Is it like your staff or what? Like just general?
So they've registered to sell our properties, and many of them started real estate because they saw me into real estate. Many of them had made money. So they were sharing their story of, they sort of announced that she's into real estate. People have doing real estate. Maybe I join real estate too, and they followed, and they are now mentioning how much they made, how they started selling, and I'm like really so happy. And then on the corollary is yesterday I read this really sad article about how a very big bank in Nigeria is suffering from their tech team. They lost over 50% of their tech team.
Yeah.
They just migrated out of the country. And, you know, I think that we need to go deep into human capacity development. Nigerians are intelligent, and we have enough people to replace those 70% that
and then somebody else will come and carry them again. That's what happened in TVs now. We wanted to be Al Jazeera, then we trained everybody now.
And now they are thriving in BBC.
They are thriving everywhere else. And so you do capacity building, and they'll not leave you. So how do you ensure that they provide building? So who's at whose cost? Auntie, no, tell us, we're having a conversation. At whose cost?
Just make sure that it's the same thing with realtors. You might think like I'm training realtors and they are selling for another company. Because the people that were calling figures, they were selling for other companies. I'm training them. They did not do only real estate too. I trained them, they sell for other companies. But the truth is, I'm happy that they are growing and they are blowing. You know, so but there are ways you can do that. You could tie a contract like a period. You must work.
Yeah, talking like a business person.
How are you? How's your weekend?
I'm fine. Weekend was nice, you know. This is a nice morning.
Why are you doing like this? Why are you taking
that your PA has a baby.
Oh, yeah. So I already announced that. Yeah, so I think I just...
What happened to you? You got a cut?
Oh, yeah, I got a cut, and it just refused to heal. It's because I keep hitting and bumping it. So I have to seal it up so that it can hopefully heal properly. But I'm good, you know, to see. Listen, I have a lot on my head. I'm trying to, and this week, let me talk about this week. So tomorrow is the Education Summit hosted by the Ministry of Education. And we're talking about, it's more like a stakeholders meeting where to know what Lagos State is doing. In this area of education, and how you can support, what areas they also need your help. So it's a summit of experts within the industry to sit down together, see what they're doing within the education industry. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be emceeing tomorrow, so I'll be there tomorrow, and hopefully on Tuesday. It's Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay. So let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Obasanjo, I have no preferred candidate but a national agenda. ASU to review 6-month-old strike. Lagos airport cleaner in NDLE net for leading drug syndicate. How Nigeria can benefit from stable oil market. Wike gets Rivers PDP backing on call for IU's removal. Federal government to block illegal diversions on Lagos-Ibadan expressway. And Ondo to teachers, don't enroll your kids in private schools.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start.
I've got the major headline. So the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, yesterday when he went to visit former head of state, Abdulsalam Abubakar in Minna, Niger State, responding to questions. And he's, they were asking him about his support for the Labour Party presidential candidate and flag bearer. And he says, see, he doesn't have a preferred candidate. He just has a national agenda that he will be revealing very soon. And that he was just here to visit Abdulsalam Abubakar because he had been ill, and in London they missed each other, and so he came here to visit. Although they said after he visited with him, he also went off to visit Ibrahim Babangida. But, a lot of speculations have been following the alleged support for the Labour Party candidate, because he said he had met, of course, he had met with the three major flag bearers, APC, PDP, and LP. But in London, there was a meeting, and it was alleged that he had tried to encourage Wike to give his support to Peter Obi because he believed that Peter Obi would be a better candidate. But he's denying that that is what happened, but he just wants, I guess, the best for our country. And then we'll see what that national agenda he's going to reveal will be.
You have to leave it to him. He's a pretty strong elder statesman, and he's taking that position very seriously.
When two godfathers are meeting, Abdulsalami and you have to kind of think what sparks are happening. We don't even know what's happening. But let me take, I'm still on Governor Wike's matter.
Yes.
So PDP in Rivers State said, listen, we are behind our governor 150%. That's exactly what they said. They said we are behind him, sharp. The spokesperson of the State Publicity Secretary, Tambari Sidney Gbara, was saying that Wike is the indisputable leader of the party in the state, and that the entire structure in the Rivers State is behind the governor. And therefore, they are insisting that the national chairman, Ayu, resigns and aligns with what Wike is asking for. According to him, the part of the provision of the PDP's constitution, which frowns at a particular section of the country having both the national chairman and the presidential candidate from the same region, is completely unconstitutional from their own PDP constitution. So they're saying that until he resigns, there can be a way forward. And both parties, and so both groups are still talking. That's articles. People are still talking to the PDP in Rivers, and they are all saying that, listen, whatever that this has happened back in 2007 and 2008, where President Musa Yar'Adua emerged as Senate bearer, and there was Colonel Amadou Ali, who was national chairman, and had to resign to make opposition for Ogbalofo, who became the national chairman.
So there's a precedent.
There's a precedent. So they're insisting that that's the only way they're going to resolve this matter.
Politicians, I wonder, do they take like sleeping pills to sleep? Man, the intrigues and intricacies.
Yes, it's politicking. The story broke yesterday all over social media that there was major crisis going on in Mile 12, area of Lagos State. Conflict between Eye and Aye, and in the midst of the violence, a national union, a member of the NURTW in Mile 12 lost his life. He was killed in the violence. His name is Suleiman Lawal, alias Akiru, and he lost his life in the violence. The information was confirmed by the police spokesman, Benjamin Ondeng, in Lagos State. He said the command is aware of the violence, the clash going on at Owode area and the DPO is handling the situation, reinforcement to be ready, and they are monitoring the situation. But then somebody...
died. The Punch. PDP and WC divided over Ayu. Chairman's fate is uncertain. Picture here of Libya factional governments clash, 32 killed, 159 injured. 30,000 died of air pollution in Lagos, says LASEPA. Lassa fever cases now 894. Ondo Edo lead. Accident kills 3. Commuters decry Lagos-Ibadan gridlock. ASU strike enters 196th day. Union decides today. Unpaid salaries, Plateau, Benue, Ondo workers, others groan. And aviation sector's GDP crashes by 61% amid crisis. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I've got the ASU story. So as of today, the ASU strike has entered its 196th day. There's a meeting of the National Executive Council of ASU. I think it began yesterday and it will continue for a few days. And it's just going to discuss, if they're extending the strike or calling it off. The report says that they spoke to a few people who cannot be named, but they said that it looks like there might be an extension of the strike, because what the NEC would, the meeting that the NEC is having is to find out what the different state chapters have decided, and they say from 90% of the responses they've gotten, they're all asking for extension. The Education Ministry is saying that they have done, really everything to, on their own part. They said concerning the IPPIS, UTAS, they are looking for how to, merge them so that it works for everyone and there's just one payment. And that in spite of what they're doing, to insist on extending the strike is unfair. NAPTAM, which is the National Parent Teacher Association of Nigeria, are now calling out the lecturers. They're saying the reason that parents find themselves where they are now is because most of these lecturers have other jobs. It's either they are teaching at other private universities, so this really does not pinch them. And even after the strike, they may still get paid by the federal government. And so they believe that that is why ASU is still adamant on extending the strike.
Interesting, different perspective.
Lassa fever, it's a very short story, but important that we keep on saying this. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says they've confirmed 894 cases of Lassa fever infection. This is an hemorrhaging fever. So about 33% of the results, they tested about over 6,000 suspected cases, but confirmed 894. 168 deaths have been recorded in this year. And of all the cases, 70% come from just 3 states, Ondo, Edo, and Bauchi states. These are the 3 states, majorly Ondo, contributing 31% to the cases, and Edo 26% to the cases. The conversation also says that no new health worker has been affected, which is good, because in the beginning they had a few cases of health workers also getting infected. So it means that the health workers are protecting themselves better. Let's do this. It's preventable. Get informed about what is going on with Lassa fever if you live in Ondo, Edo, and in Bauchi State.
Yes.
Okay, so I was going to take the stories about unpaid salaries. So Plateau State, Benue, Ondo workers are groaning because they are yet to be paid salaries. According to the report, Plateau State workers explained that the government is owing about 3 months' salary from June up to August. I think Benue State is saying that they've been paid, they've been owed 4 months' salary, while Abia State is saying about 6 months is being owed, including pensions. And that's also very, very important, because these are monies owed to people who have completed their tenure at work, and they should be compensated and given their pensions up until to their lifetime. So they are also being owed salaries from these 3 states. I'm really surprised. Is it only these 3 states that are owing? I'm wondering why it's only these 3 states that made the news, but they made the front page. But the workers within these states, in particular, Plateau State, Benue, are really complaining because they're being owed salaries. Okay, let's take one more story.
I have one more story. Yes. So the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency has disclosed that shocking, concerning news that air pollution has been responsible for 30,000 premature deaths in Lagos in 2021. And of that 30,000, 22,500 were children. And this was confirmed by the general manager of LASEPA, Dr. Dolapo Fashowe. She says, that the biggest culprit for this air pollution is transportation. And so LASEPA has they have an initiative they called Eco Clean Air, and that is just to first advocate for better to advocate for clean air, less air pollution, and all the things, all the contributors to air pollution. They're working hand in hand with the Lagos State government. They said that they're looking towards what they call a hybrid pilot bus, and also hybrid bus, rapid transit buses. And so this would help, to reduce the amount of emissions out in the air. They also talk about that the agency had an advocacy walk, and they have 6 air quality monitoring stations to assess air pollution in 6 areas in Lagos State. So they're just working hard to make sure. But it's really concerning to know the number of children that lose their lives to this sad thing.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to continue with the Daily Sun. Crisis brews in Tinubu campaign as Adamu's men allege neglect. NDLA nabs Lagos airport cleaner who leads drug syndicate. Thousands march in Onitsha in support of Peter Obi. Lagos missing teenage girl reunites with family in Bauchi. Atiku IU others for Shekaral's defection in Kano today. 2023 poll, Nigeria needs God-fearing president, says Khan. PDP crisis soars composition of campaign council, NEC meetings. Obasanjo just confers with IBB and Abdusalami. And Arthur Eze insists he gave loan to Andy Uba. Okay, let me start with the Atiku story. So, the presidential candidate of the PDP arrived from London yesterday at 4 p.m. and he went straight to Kano in time for the defection of Ibrahim Shekaral of the PDP today, because he is moving from the NNPP party to a PDP. They are believing that with this defection, that Atiku is guaranteed 25% of the votes from Kano State. And you know, Kano is a huge deal. You know, Kano, I mean, was it 4 million they got last time? I can't remember. That's a large block of votes that many candidates are seeing what they can do to get the majority of that state. So this defection is very important for PDP because, according to him, he's guaranteed to get at least 25% of the votes. Okay.
NDLEA. So NDLEA said yesterday they arrested a man who was about to board an Air Peace flight to Dubai at the airport. And they said on him, they found 3 bags which contained 8 blocks of cannabis sativa weighing 4.25 kg concealed in gari and crayfish. And then they found that he also worked with, he works with Ohiagu. This is someone that works at he's a cleaner at the airport. And they said there's this person in Dubai who contracted them to help work for him. So he contracted the Obina who was arrested with the drugs, and also Ohiagu, who is a cleaner that makes sure that there's free access or easy access for when his consignments come in and these people are trying to move. But the arrest of Obina led to the arrest of this cleaner. So well done, NDLEA.
Very good. I want to take the story of Arthur Eze and Senator Andy Uba. So there's been this issue going on about, did you borrow me money? Did you support? Arthur Eze has taken a case to court that he gave Andy Uba an interest-free loan of 50 million naira. He did not dash him money. He did not support campaign. He gave him 50 million naira as loan, which Andy Uba did not deny that he got the money. But Andy Uba said that if he was supporting my campaign, I got the money from his company after I declared my intention to run, and I went to the altar, I was jubilating and sent a thank you message. Who would collect loan and send thank you message?
Of course,
he did not. He said nobody collects loan, according to what I read in the papers. His son. He said nobody collects loan and sends thank you message. That it was not a loan. It was a donation in support of his campaign.
So it was not written, no documents.
But the court has awarded, the High Court in Abuja has awarded that the senator should refund. They've gone to the place to take a few of his cars. Yes.
So they can prove that it was a loan?
It was, according to them, it was a loan. They said the
So if you give me a gift now, please write it down.
Yes, so this is a gift, and this is a loan.
I just gave you a gift.
Yes.
Thank you. Or you reply, if I give you a gift, just give thank you for the gift.
No,
just evidence.
Is this a gift or a loan?
No, that would be too much. It will be too direct. If I send you one day, if I send you, thank you for the gift. If you now, no, it's not a gift. I dashed you. You know.
And the date.
You not reply. No, it's not a gift. I gave. So you have evidence.
A politician, that someone gives you a gift, just say, is this a gift or a loan? Just be sure.
Okay. The points. Untold story of Police Service Commission IGP tussle. Over 50 families rendered homeless by flooding in Ebonyi cry for help. highly connected cartel behind the crude oil theft, says Eva. Court remands housewife for inserting pepper into maid's private part.
Sad.
They still do this stuff?
At least even a young woman, Monica Aleke, is the housewife who is in court. She's a mother of 2. She had this girl come live with them. They said the girl came to live with them 6 months after she lost her mother. And she started staying with them. She's 16 years old. And on this particular day, this Monica Aleke inserted pepper into her vagina, saying that, accusing her of sleeping with her husband. The husband says she's constantly, that since this girl came to live with them, she's just constantly maltreated her, and that one time he went and he got clothes for his children, and he also bought for her because he believes she's like their first child. And his wife just could not let it rest, insisting that he was having an affair with this child. And yes, and then she did this. So the husband is even saying to the court, please make sure you punish her very well for this act that she did to this child, because this child didn't deserve it. Really sad.
So unfair. Okay, moving on quickly now to Vanguard. PDP crisis article at wit's end as IU Wike dig in. Akeredolu to Ondo teachers. It's an offense to enroll your wards in private schools. I have national agenda for country, not special candidate for 2023, says Obasanjo. If you are really fighting for students, suspend strike. Parents, nuns task ASU. 2023, don't listen to presidential candidates through proxies. Peter Obi tells Nigerians. 2023 presidency, not allocation to any zone, says NNPP. And 10 Nigerian states have bigger GDPs than some African countries, says Professor Oshibaju, the vice president. Okay, let's take Akeredolu to Ondo teachers. According to the report, the chairman, SUBEB, the SUBEB, Mr. Victor Olabim of the Ondo State chapter, said that the dwindling population of pupils in public schools, public primary schools across the state has led them to instruct that no teachers should allow their children go to private schools. And he was insisting that henceforth they will be held responsible for any dropout in the school's enrollment. According to him, I guess this is some kind of an enrollment drive to get more people to come into the public primary schools. Yes.
Yes.
It's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I feel that we should
because
discuss it. It's worth discussing.
part of the story says that the government had, given them fund, and this particular fund is something that they should get quite frequently, but they haven't gotten it in 5 years. But they've just received it from Governor Akeredolu, and so they have been refurbishing the schools, renovating the schools, and so because of that, you're now asking these teachers to make sure that their children come to these schools.
Charity begins at home.
So my own is, the other 5 years that they did not get those funds and the schools were just everywhere scattered, the teachers now took their children out and put them in proper private schools that were working.
Salaries.
Yes. Now that it's been fixed, they're asking them, bring your children back. Are you confirming that this is something that will continue? Or you wait another 5 years and then these children are in a school that's not working?
It's interesting,
So,
yes.
let's just take the story of the vice president speaking. And he said in his statement, he mentioned that Nigeria, we shouldn't compare Nigerian economy with other small African countries. That sometimes we just compare our GDP, that 10 states in Nigeria have GDP is more than many African countries. He mentioned the fact that Borno State in size alone is bigger than the whole of UK plus Sweden. And, no, he said the whole of UK, let me not exaggerate it. Yes, he said plus Sweden or Denmark. So that you can't compare our size or our people the way comparisons are usually made. Then he said 10 states have bigger GDPs than many of all those smaller African countries, and we're compared with them like we're on the same level. We are not. There are opportunities. He was speaking at the Harvard Business School students. We are bigger than what people are saying about us. And our economy is not as bad as people are claiming it is. And he was talking about the values that he represents, that he feels that, we talk about corruption, but it's not like everybody is corrupt. There are values he brought into government and he's maintained those values. He spoke about the value of transparency, social justice, and justice, among others. And at this, fortunately, those values cuts across different faiths, and those values are still a pillar in our society.
So if Borno is bigger than UK, the landmass,
yes,
and we're having issues of insecurity, so I guess we can understand why it's difficult
to cover
that ground. It's because within UK alone, they are having challenges. Now imagine someone is just one state as big as that. So it's something worth talking. I mean, now for me, that's a topic to discuss, but maybe not today. But it's an interesting angle because sometimes when Nigerians need to put things in proper perspective, you understand and appreciate the effort. I mean, they'll say I'm supporting government again, but sometimes you appreciate the effort. Because this country, we're a continent, like Nigeria as it is, like a whole continent. That's why we need deregulation. Yeah. Each station will become each country.
True federalism.
True federalism. I mean, these are not arguments for true federalism. So it's a conversation I'd like to have. You know, if you're saying like this, so every state should become independent.
Yeah.
Let us now
so
be contributing
you can drive your growth.
If Borno is the landmass of UK, let's
and the Borno governor knows, like, I'm a UK president.
I'm a UK president.
UK prime minister. Yeah. I drive my community.
It's a conversation we should have, but not today. Let's go at a break. When we come back, what's our hot topic? If you live in Lagos, you need this hot topic. The traffic on Friday was a crazy one. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining the conversation this morning is the Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Ondo State, Mr. Ahmed Umar, and this is because of the gridlock Lagosians especially experienced on Thursday night, Friday night, and I'm told also it ran into Saturday night. I know somebody that was in drag traffic for 6 hours. I had to go pick her up at the gate at past 11, and she left her office at exactly 5:05. Some others said 7 hours, others slept on the road.
Wow.
So we're here, our guest, Ahmed Umar, who is Sector Commander, will tell us exactly what is going on with that road and how soon it can go back to normalcy. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, good morning, TVC. Thank you.
Good morning. Good to have you. I know you are the hottest topic today in Lagos because everybody wants to know what is going on. We know there's road construction ongoing. We know there are police and traffic officials on the roads, but yet we're still staying 6 to 7 hours. What's happening, sir?
Okay, there are so many interplay of factors there that lead to that gridlock. Number one, the natural characteristic heavy density traffic flow of that expressway. That expressway is the busiest, not just in Nigeria, but throughout West Africa, with an average daily flow of a little above 50,000. So the second factor is the ongoing reconstruction exercise.
Hello, sir. Okay, so I'm told he's been frozen, so I guess we'll have to make a call. So when you know that there's 50,000 cars passing through that place and there's a road construction, we expect that there are adequate detours created. Hello, sir, are you there? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, so you told us that there are 50,000 cars plying that road, and you told us that the construction going on. Go ahead, please. We're following you.
Okay, now, but the ongoing reconstruction exercise is not the problem. The problem is the human factor, the impatience of the motorists.
Okay.
You know, naturally, for the construction to go smoothly, the road has to be demarcated. There is narrowing of that lane, the inward Lagos especially. That is where the ongoing reconstruction exercise is going on. So now motorists, instead of being patient to follow all the rules and regulations or the business of mobility. No. They tend to exhibit all kinds of, bad behaviors, which now compounds the whole problem. Like, for example, the route violation, the issue of route violation, that is following of one way, driving against traffic, illegal proliferation of access routes onto the expressway, which further compounds, the management of the expressway. So the problem is the human factor, the impatience on the part of the motorists. That is what is making the whole problem complex, not the ongoing reconstruction exercise per se.
Sir, what you are explaining as impatience, I just call lawlessness, and the idea of having the FRSC, the LASMA, and police is to reduce lawlessness, because lawlessness will thrive where there is no implementation of the laws. So I feel really shocked that despite the presence of all these agencies on the road, knowing the kind of traffic we are going to expect would happen when you trim down a 3-lane that is carrying, conveying over 50,000 vehicles into a single lane. Why does it seem like your agencies couldn't collaborate with other agencies to ensure that there is less lawlessness within that axis?
Yes. In fact, let me start with the synergy between the law enforcement agencies involving even Lagos and Ondo State, the police, the FRC, the police, even Nigerian Army, the LASMA, and the TRACECO of Ondo State. The synergy and the collaboration towards the extent is very, very excellent. But just like you observed, I mentioned the proliferation of the illegal access routes onto the expressway. Take, for example, there was one created, the Arc Road, just by Mekano, which now the motorists were using to Opic. And when they reach Opic, they now tend to access the expressway, thereby causing blockage to the other motorists on their right of lane on the expressway. So we call on Julius Berger, they block that route, that illegal access route. And you know what? Before morning, this morning, some lawless motorists went there and removed those barricades. And it compounds the problem further. So what we did again is we dug out the access, which now makes it possible for the motorists to pass that way. And it now gives us easier, make it easier for us to manage the traffic flow there.
Okay.
So this is just one of the...
All right.
Okay. So instead of maybe always having to react to something that has gone wrong, are there no precautionary steps to take so that, and if there are, why aren't we taking them? And would you say that maybe you don't have enough personnel? And I'm talking across all the stakeholders. I'm talking FRSC, police. Is there a reason why we're not able to take precautionary steps? We already know there's construction going on. We already know that there's high vehicular movement on that road. We know that it will cause gridlock, it will cause a problem. Can't we have more personnel stationed on that axis to make for easier and less stressful movement during this period?
Okay, I believe we have, I can say we have enough personnel backed up by the police, the LASMA, the TRACECO of Ondo State, and even Nigerian Army. So I can say we have enough personnel. But the issue there is the lawlessness, the extent of the lawlessness on the part of the motorist. If the motorists will cooperate with the traffic management agencies, the security agencies, everything will go smoothly. If you observe the situation very well, it is if the traffic flow is usually static. No, it's not static, but slow moving. And people, instead of exercising patience to keep moving, no, they tend to exhibit all kinds of lawlessness, which now compounds the traffic flow. and make it a gridlock, turn it into a gridlock as such.
All right, let me pause you for a second because I'm told I have Engineer Ademola Kuti online. He's the Director, Southwest Highway, Federal Ministry of Works. You're obviously the ogas of this road construction ongoing. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Engineer Kuti. Engineer Kuti, are you there? Okay, so while we're trying to reconnect with him, I'll come back to our sector commander, Mr. Ahmed.
Yeah, good morning.
Good
morning, Amir.
Okay. Okay, I'm told there's a bit of a delay. Okay, so...
good morning.
Okay, so... Sir, let me start with you this morning. Let me come to you, Mr. Engineer Kuti. Could you give us an idea as to what a construction of this magnitude should entail in the sense of directing traffic? So we have a 3-lane road that people are being told is being collapsed to 1. How feasible can you get 50,000 vehicles pass through 1 lane? And I mean, that, for me, that doesn't even sound logical. But what exactly is the plan to ensure smooth movement of vehicles on that road, since you are the one in charge of construction? So let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'm told we have Engineer Ademola Kuti back. He's the Director, Southwest Highway from the Federal Ministry of Works. Thank you, sir, once again for joining us. So my first question is exactly what your expectations are, because we've just been told from our reports that 50,000 vehicles run through that Lagos-Ibadan expressway every day, and now the roads are being collapsed into 1 lane. And it doesn't sound logical for construction to only provide 1 lane. In your view, what kind of brief was given to the constructors, the contractor, and how do we hope to ease vehicular movement around that axis?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly correct. My name is Adedamola Kuti. Adedamola Kuti is the right name. Well, like the commander stated earlier, that road is the busiest in the whole of West Africa, if not in the whole of Africa. And it's the same road that we are trying to reconstruct and at the same time making use of it. So there are bound to be one form of inconvenience or the other. However, you see, at the construction area, that's the one that created the problem on Friday, the one around Opik area, just a stretch of about 1.3 kilometers. You know, we just made a diversion, divided the road into 2. We walk on half of the road with the intention that the motorists will use the remaining half. The outbound Lagos, that one is completely free. By the traffic management plan, it's supposed to be completely free. But what we experienced is some drivers, around Warewa area, they went in on those earth road, drove on the earth road, and then came out around Opik, thereby causing confusion at that Opik junction. And you see, driving against traffic will really distort whatever plans you have on ground. And it may interest you to note that even this stretch, anytime you have this gridlock, or rather anytime you have this traffic on that road, the maximum length is about 5 kilometers. And with 5 kilometers, and when you drive at a construction speed, allowable construction speed, maximum is 30 kilometers an hour, within 15 minutes, you're out of the traffic. You're out of the traffic within 15, 20 minutes. But you see, there are certain factors that now tend to delay movement on the construction zone. One factor is driving against traffic. The second factor is trading activities around that area. You see some commuters buying this, buying that, picking up passengers. Unauthorized bus stops picking up passengers, and of course, when vehicles break down, or maybe when you have any form of accident. But of course, we have provisions for tow trucks to pull out any vehicle that breaks down, within that stretch.
Engineer,
so the issue is
let me
we have
pause you for a
already
second.
provided a diversion. That diversion has been provided, moving slowly, and then the diversion has been provided in such a way to allow two vehicles move at the same time. So moving at 20 kilometers an hour, you get to your destination.
Let me pause you for a second,
20
sir.
minutes.
Yes, sir. Okay, so given the scenario you just painted, anybody would think that this must be easy, and it is just the fact that motorists are not obeying the law. But in your own observation, would you say that we have enough personnel on ground to make sure that people just keep with, within the lanes that have been provided during this period? Are there, would you say that the personnel on ground is doing a good job, or they are just too overwhelmed by what is happening?
For the personnel on ground, well, they are not doing badly, but we'll continue to collaborate. And in terms of getting more personnel on ground, we have a corridor commander whose job is specifically on that Lagos-Ibadan stretch. We are in touch. And then, of course, we have our other personnel in Lagos. The last mile people are also there. They've been very, very also cooperative. So we'll see the possibility of increasing the number of personnel on ground. But first and foremost, please kindly urge our people, to keep to their lane. Everybody should be disciplined on this road, so that we are already on our final lap. And then whatever we have to do, you see, they should bear with us, and then allow us to finish this.
What are the timelines for this final lap, sir?
On the road.
What are the timelines?
We already, as I mentioned earlier, we've already completed 37.5 kilometers, remaining just about 6.1 kilometers, both bounds 12.2.
That's how long? How many months?
Okay.
I know there's a major delay, so it takes a while to get the question across. Please, I wanted to ask concerning, sometimes our leaders, people in charge, are not on ground to see what is happening. I drive through that road. It is not streamlined into two lanes. When you are comparing heavy-duty trailers passing the road, I drive there. Maybe two cars can pass through. When you have a trailer, everybody is on one lane. So that is one major issue. Also, it's not a diversion. If there's no alternative way, you ask everybody that is on that road doesn't have any other option but to join that long queue. Don't you think, sir, it would have been better if we provide an alternative way before we create this diversion? And since it has been done, the last time we spoke to the sector commander, he mentioned the fact that we have enough men on ground. You also reiterated that. But how come the men on ground are unable to curb the lawlessness going on? And then we still claim that it is okay, when it's obvious people are disobeying and the men are not able to stop them from disobeying? Yeah.
For the alternative road, well, I don't know what you mean by alternative roads, but all those H roads that you see, they are not alternatives on Lagos-Ibadan. Now, if you don't have any serious, apart from those who live along that axis, we expect some of the motorists, knowing fully well that construction work has resumed on the road, well, some of them can make use of Akeredolu. Those of them who are going towards the east, they can make use of Akeredolu. What happened on that Friday? We have another team. There's another stretch where we are walking between 7-Up and Akeredolu Bridge. We've not been experiencing this, and it's just simply because there is no way for drivers to go against traffic there. So, and work is ongoing now. And in fact, that particular stretch is at the heart of Lagos. And we never experienced any form of serious gridlock. So the motorists have been going quietly, and they're getting to their destinations. So I think the key word there should be lane discipline. Let our people exercise a bit of patience. And then this human factor that the sector commander also mentioned, should be eliminated completely so that we can all get to our destinations.
Okay, let me go to our sector commander very quickly because we have to wrap up on this.
Yeah,
sector commander, so what Nigerians want to know in a nutshell, what have you done differently between Friday and today, such that when we drive through that route, we don't have to spend 7 hours again? Have you deployed more men? Have you created additional diversions? What has been done to ensure that we don't have to spend 6-7 hours again in traffic on that route?
Yes, we ensure that the Julius Berger have made adequate deployment of logistics and personnel to speed up the work then ongoing there. That is one. Secondly, we made more deployment of staff and personnel there from both Ondo State and Lagos State, that is the neighboring command. These are the things we have done. And another factor you fail to understand is that one cannot rule out the possibility of a breakdown still while, on that single lane. We experience breakdown, either of a heavy-duty truck or another vehicle, a car bashing onto the back of another car and so on, and what motorists will stop to make some fightings out of it. We have to come to intervene to make sure that they don't cause unnecessary blockage or obstruction on the expressway, that the traffic keep moving. This is what we have been saddling with. This is what we have been fighting with all over this time. So it's one of the factors that is causing the delay. Any slight delay, even for 2 seconds or 5 seconds, it will cause unnecessary extension of the traffic jam. Yes.
Oh, okay, so people have also motorists have also complained that sometimes your personnel are constantly just stopping people, asking for different papers after the other. And I'm wondering, since you already are experiencing a gridlock in that area, is that the best place to stop people and ask for their papers? Can it be done further down, that stretch of road?
I disagree with this assertion at this point. At this point, we are only concerned with traffic management, ensuring smooth flow of traffic on that expressway. Nobody is asking anybody for traffic papers, vehicle papers, or driver's license. Let me tell you, yesterday, in fact, all this period, we recorded nil arrests. Our sole purpose there is ensuring prompt clearance of obstruction and ensuring smooth flow of traffic on that axis. No arrest is being made there. Therefore, nobody should say Road Safety is stopping him for now on that particular axis, asking him for vehicle particulars or driver's license. We don't do that. And another thing I want to highlight here is that if you recall last year, December, Xmas, New Year celebrations last year, and during this Eid al-Fitr Salah celebration, Eid al-Kabir Salah celebration, it went on very smoothly because we had meeting with the Julius Berger company, and we prevailed on them that they should remove all narrowed lanes. They should widen all those carriageways they narrowed as a result of construction exercise and make the expressway as standard as possible without any restriction. And they did. And the traffic flow was very free-flowing. We recorded very less traffic crashes during the festivities. And also, everybody was happy and no complaint that time. Even you journalists, you didn't come out to commend us or to make this observation. It's only when there's problem that people come to begin to make all kinds of observations.
Because of time, let me ask you this question quickly. So why don't we make some kind of an arrangement for vehicles to pass through the untarred road in the interim, just to create more extra lanes? So we know that, yes, diversions have been made into one lane. But is it possible? Because even most vehicles actually do go through the untarred road. But can we then make it a legitimate route to pass the untarred place where we can have more lanes to pass through?
Well, I feel this question is better redirected to the Federal Ministry of Works, the supervisor there. Right. Yes.
All right, let me talk to you. So, Engineer Kuti, are you there? Did you get that question?
There are not alternative roads. You see, this road, recall this road is being expanded. This road is being expanded from the original 4-lane to 6-lane. And so once you have this expansion, and then of course we still give allowance for the 4 lane to move on the diversion area. We still give allowance, and then of course, I want to also mention here that between Friday, or rather between Saturday and yesterday, we carried out some palliative work just to ensure that there is easy passage along that axis. So the U-turn at Opik, and then the diversion area, we've already carried out some palliative works there. And palliative work will be a continuous thing, pending when that stretch is, the other stretch is completed, and then move traffic to this, to the completed section.
Timelines.
So,
okay, go ahead.
That's exactly what we want to find out.
Timelines. Everybody wants to know when.
How long will this
Start to
take?
finish. When do we end this construction work?
Schools will be resuming in September. People are scared.
Well, for the completion, you see, we have a presidential mandate to finish the entire Lagos-Ibadan, the main carriageway, to get it completed before the end of this year, December. Before the end of this year, 2022, we should be done with the main carriageway on Lagos-Ibadan.
No, we're talking about this gridlock. This gridlock we're experiencing, it can't be till the end of December, to December. So please, this gridlock that we're experiencing, this lane that we collapse, how fast will your men complete it?
This phase.
So that at least this phase, we go off this phase and you can move to another section. Okay, I think that's all we can take on this segment. So on the information we have so far is that they're going to deploy more men from the sector commander. They're going to deploy more men.
So they do need more.
And they're also going to ensure that they're ensuring they're going to be finished in due time.
Yes.
So, but I think that's pretty much all we have from today's conversation. I'm trying to see if we got some good news.
sense of comfort.
Yes. So
There's
what we heard on both sides is really that motorists
Bear
need
with
to behave
So
better.
also, thank you, Mariam. So the feedback also to us is that, so the outbound, according to what the engineer said, outbound is fine. But the reason why outbound was so gridlocked is because those on the inbound are passing one way on the outbound. So we also have to ensure that we don't take the one-way route. And how do you do that? Get more men at the point where they are taking they're moving into the outbound lane. Get more men to block them, or get Julius Berger to block that road, so they don't have access into the outbound.
They blocked, the people took it away. So it's the lawlessness.
Yeah.
So people took it away.
So that means we need more enforcement.
Yes,
in that
and we need enforcement that will not create more hardship on people. Yeah. So it has to be fast. Whether you are going to unscrew people's number plates and say, come back and get number plates at the FRSC office, or take pictures and videos.
Nigerians will beat you up.
Because if you don't do something that is fast, that can be paid fast, it will cause extra gridlock in trying to enforce.
These are Nigerians that beat up the law enforcement officials every day. So
there's a collaboration with Okada Riders Band. They did a collaborative effort with the task force involving more than just one implementation officer, and it was successful. So if we can do a collaboration, we need decisive action.
One of the things that also sort of sabotages enforcement is that if you give one person chance to take one way, the other person wants to take it.
Yes.
So you have to look, because we have motorists saying that they have seen
VIPs go there.
the personnel do that, so they need to do better on that.
Fantastic, that's a good point, because the VIPs come pressing their horn and then...
Don't they pass.
Okay, I think that's all we can take. So these are lessons we have to learn from this, but I just hope we don't have to go through that experience again. It was really, really horrendous. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So another story caught our attention. Over the weekend, activist Harrison Gwamishu shared a video of a widow tied by her hands and legs. And she was flogged by members of her community, the Numpa Bende local government, Abia State. According to his report, she was tagged and accused of being a witch by her late husband's brother's wife and deserves to be flogged. Now, these are things we've heard in the past. Now, we can't confirm exactly the story because we're not there, but this is based on his own report. And it was interesting to us because we've dealt with these issues many years in the past, and we thought that we're past this phase. Many women believe that we're past this phase of, oh, you killed your husband, therefore this happened. You know, we thought the courts have thrown out these kind of cases, but there are some communities, some states that are still having to deal with this, and in this community especially, according to Harrison's report, it happened. We can't confirm from the police if indeed it happened. We're still waiting to get some additional reports. But the conversation around in a situation where a woman is allegedly accused allegedly of killing her spouse, should she be beaten up, tied up, and embarrassed and humiliated in the public? That's the conversation. Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. Okay, so obviously the answer to that question is obviously no. But if you go into culture, community, religion, ethnicity, and all that, they start giving you reasons why. You know why? This is how it's been done. Our forefathers, you know, it's better than you taking them to the court of justice. Better to do, you know, you hear different angles and you begin to think, okay, maybe this is how you guys want to do it. But what are your thoughts? Why is this thing happening today?
So I'm of the opinion that culturally, whatever we don't understand, we demystify it, we spiritualize it. Once the person died under mysterious circumstances, and so we turn it into, we create a mystery, we mystify it and spiritualize the situation. And we've done that for so many years that when people like us read the story, we're assuming, not with technology, not with the level of information, not with autopsy. Like, there are many ways you can confirm the fact behind the story. Why would someone's word be saying, why would somebody say the person she killed, and then you take that person so that you punish someone without any evidence simply because of word of mouth against another innocent person until proven guilty? As a society, we need to speak up against it. Thankfully, the person that released this story is an activist, and his claim was, let's involve they should tag the First Lady of Abia State to the point where she would respond to this, and we can have more political backing to the injustice of the situation. Has it happened? Yes. Several times in our society, we've had this kind of things happen. Is it right? Obviously, no. How do we prevent it? It is by punishing the punishers, the people that have called themselves the judges and the executioners of the judgments. We need to start punishing them, because if we don't do that, we'll continue to have situations like this reoccur. It's the norm, but it can be stopped. So I want the Abia State First Lady to speak up concerning this and investigate it. And let's make a public show, because that's how you change it.
True. You know? True. So for me is that, I mean, everything said and done, you're right, is that it took the children, at least according to the report, it took the children to reach out to an activist who's calling out on social media for the governor of the state to get involved. I feel sad that they have to go that far. I wish that at that community level, there was some place that they could go to and it would be dealt with immediately. That means that our constitution, our law, is not getting to the grassroots, where it's much needed. The government needs... People need to feel the government at that level. People would need to know that there's a government, so that, first of all, those people would be aware of what our laws say.
Absolutely.
Secondly, they'll be aware of what the consequences of their actions are. But do they have to wait for the children to try and get on someone to blow it up on social media? Do you know how many people who cannot even get this coverage are suffering? Why don't we have... Why don't we have government presence at that level?
Thank you. God bless you. Because actually, I was writing that down, like, local government. It's the issue.
We've been saying this thing
every small thing, we're looking for First Lady. The government office is too far. It's far. It's too far. The Bale, the community leaders, the Iyalojas, the Babalojas.
But what if they're culpable?
So we need them to reorientate. We need to re-educate those local government. Who is the local government chairman of this local government?
Yeah.
That's the person we need to hold responsible for this. If this happens within your local government, we need to find out, what are you doing to educate your people? How are we changing the mindset? So these are cultures and practices of the people over the years.
Yes, but
you to have a phone to record. Technology has gone now.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're the carry phone.
You know better. You should know better.
So you should know better. So obviously, for me, if a First Lady is calling First Lady, it's too far. It's too far. Even the
like
wife of the local government, what's she doing?
Exactly.
The community of women, members of their parties, where are they?
But we also have a law enforcement agency. The police.
The police.
You know, we have the police. The job of the police is when you see injustice, you report to the police station. You go to the police station as a young child and say, my mother is being accused of killing my father and she's been beaten. And what do the police do? They're supposed to follow you to your parents and say, who is beating somebody illegally? Bring them to the station. Let's investigate. Yes. Without any connection, if the police is effective in their job, that is where the situation should be dealt with. Yeah. They will not be the one to apply public defender, take it to court. But this shows inefficiency of our system, the systemic breakdown. Honestly, it is sad that we're discussing this in 2022.
Yeah. But you said word of mouth. And I think I'd like to talk on that. So somebody says, I accuse you of a witch.
Yes.
What does that mean? So define a witch. Like, so that's where I need the local government chairman to tell us. So who is a witch? What exactly do you do? Okay, you're manipulative, or what exactly do you cast a spell? What exactly did she do? What was her fault?
Yeah.
That is defined.
Yes. So yes, someone accuses you of something. You should have a local place that you go to, a local judge, a local court that you go to and make the accusation. And at that place, you'll be called and should be tried, you know, and evidence has to be provided. But to carry out punishment when there's a law within our country that can do that if she's found guilty, who gave you the right to just carry brooms and sticks and be beating another human being? But also, you know, apart from the law, where is the community, you know, you talked about community of women that can stand and grab a woman and say, you will not beat this woman. What made the other woman that was able to pronounce judgments on her? Who is she? Is she a prophetess? Is she what is she? Is she a priestess in the community? Take her to the local court and let's see it. But also, how do men raise? I know it's not, you raise it and then you hit a woman, she's a mother. And your heart did not shake. You didn't feel anything.
Watch the video, Mariam. I mean, I'm sure the video is too difficult. I mean, we can't.
They tied her hands to her back.
So we encourage you to go online to watch this video. We can't show it on TV. It's quite appalling to watch. I will take this call from Oluchi from Anambra State. Good morning, Oluchi. Are you there? Hello, Oluchi. Are you there? Oh, we lost that call. So it's the fact that we have normalized stuff like this. And listen, there's a wave of change going around the country, but it's not reaching certain communities. So if you go to the cities, this may not be happening. If you go into the major cities of Lagos or Anambra or Port Harcourt, you know, or in Enugu, you may not see this. But in those other small local governments, so that's why I said we need to take these stories and this information to the grassroots. It's not so looking for the governor's level is way too far. We need a committee of local government chairmen. We need a committee. All those women coming, they have national chapters and they have state chapters.
Yes, they do.
These are the kind of things they should be discussing.
Every community has leaders, people that they defer to. And in this community, I'm sure they have people that they defer to. Sometimes they are spiritual leaders. But imagine when the spiritual leader also feels like something fetish is going on. And the reason we created a neutral law is so that everybody will be heard. And they'll be able to defend themselves before anyone is pronounced guilty. So a woman is accused and she's been sentenced and beaten without people hearing her out and without any strong evidence being presented against her. This is the reason there's a judicial system, so that she can come and say, this is my own point of view. Another person will say, I'm accusing you of doing this wrong. And then when the two of them have a conversation, a resolution is made that feels fair to everyone involved. There was no fairness in this situation. So we've already called out local government, we've already called out community leader, we've already called out the police officers. What is going to happen to those that meted out these judgments?
Oh, yes.
You know, what will happen to those that meted out this judgment? Because they shouldn't be able to walk away scot-free. And the best way to deter these things from going on in the future is by punishing those that perpetrate it right now. We haven't done it in the past. These things are normal, Mariah. Every community, they have their local laws, the way they resolve this issue.
Let's not even assume this is all the way in Abia. I'm sure it happens in
Lagos.
Everywhere. This is
where
an Abia issue. This is Nkpa Bende local government, and I'd like to find out who the chairman of Nkpa Bende local government of Abia State is. This is the kind of person we need to be speaking to, because I think we need to start having conversations at that level. We need to start looking for governors and commissioners. Let's start talking to the local government chairman.
Let's call out the person.
I always feel that the local government, right, is the most powerful and the most impactful level of government ever. And if that level of government is faulty, then everything else will just, will just be struggling. And that is why it's important that the caliber of people that we elect into the offices, or into the positions in that place, they have to be educated. They have to, part of the community, but educated, exposed. Do you understand? With the zeal for the development and growth of that community. We cannot just put people just for putting sake, or just because we know someone or it's our turn. And that's why I would advocate for young people who are educated to be involved at that level. We don't all have, we cannot all be presidents, we cannot all be governors, but we can make really impactful strides at that level, and it will reflect everywhere. It will reflect at the higher level as well.
Patrick from Magoro, good morning, are you there? We lost that call.
So there's a book I read, The Leader Who Had No Title, and the idea is that every one of us has capacity to lead. We're all leaders. And many people feel like until I am able to have a position, I am not leading, or until I have been assigned the responsibility. People are in this community that know that this is wrong, but they didn't feel like it's a responsibility to speak up and say, no, don't do this. If you don't learn to speak up for others when they are vulnerable, who will speak out for you? And because if it can happen to others, it can happen to you. It may happen to your own mother. It may happen to your own sister. So we must go away from, he's not my brother, he's not my sister, he's not my family, he's not my compound. I can hear them shouting there, but it's not my own compound. So I'm not going to say anything unless it is concerning, it hits me. We must begin to take responsibility for what is going on in our environment and say, no, don't do that. And everybody comes out and they speak up, because it is little by little like that. We think that the change would happen from presidency. All of us are clamoring for who will become the next president of Nigeria. It ain't going to happen from there. It's not going to go, it's not from that side. It is from us, inside the houses, that will make the changes happen.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, we're talking about what happened in the community in Abia State. But it's not just an Abia State issue, it's a national issue. And we'll try to expand our conversation outside one state. We're linking that to another story we took in the papers today, where the state government of Ondo State were instructing their teachers not to take their wards to private schools. Now, that raised an eyebrow here, because we're thinking, okay, what is going on here? There are lots of questions to be asked. At what point is the government waking up to this reality that many of their teachers have their wards in private schools? What is the reason? What's the issue exactly? And are they also morally right to ask for that? Because if we want to investigate properly,
now that's the question.
To check across board, are all of their pupils, all their wards going to the private schools? We're talking about basic education, that's primary schools, public schools. So what are your thoughts on this? I was arguing that this didn't come from the state governor, because the paper said the governor said. And I'm like, when I now read the article, it was the SUBEB chairman that said, but they're saying he's speaking on behalf of the governor. I don't know if anytime the chairman of SUBEB speaks, he's speaking on behalf of the governor. Maybe he is, I don't know, but I would like to believe, I would personally like to believe he's not speaking on behalf of Governor Akeredolu. I would like to believe he's speaking as a SUBEB chairman, independent. Well, he's not independent, actually, but he's speaking as a SUBEB chairman. But either way, he has instructed that his teachers must send their wards to the public schools. What are your thoughts on this? You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read the tweet. We didn't take comments on the other topic.
Yeah, I'll check the tweets.
Okay, let's go.
But they say those who live in glass house should not throw stones. So, of course, when I heard it, I'm like, no, you must be joking. You mean you understand the importance of keeping your own in a particular establishment so that you send out the right message? I thought I earned my money before I joined government conversation we normally have when Nigerians call on our leaders to lead by example. On the face of it, it's good advice, you know. If the schools are so good and you're a teacher in this school, your child should be the first example to everyone that, you know, this is working. And it definitely sends the wrong message if I am a teacher and my child cannot be in the school that I'm teaching. It really does. Except if that child is out of that school just for maybe really special reasons. My child is such a genius, he's in a specialized school or, you know, but just a regular, it sends the wrong message. But I'm happy that it's coming. I know you have tried to explain it away from the state government itself. But I'm happy in the paper it says it came from the office of the representative of the governor, that they understand how important it is that the structures on ground and whatever it is that we put on ground, the leaders themselves have to fully participate in its growth, and they do that not only by throwing money at it, but by using of those facilities. So this particular story made the papers because it's not just calling the teachers to bring their wards back to public schools, but to say, see, government has put so much money into renovating these schools and building these schools and making sure everything is good. And still the numbers are going down. Why is that? And that's the Nigerian story. Oh, federal government has just, every time we talk about us, the federal government, you say, do not forget do not forget how much federal government in the past 4 years has pumped into the universities. And yet your own children are not in those schools. If they touch them small, do not forget how much government has done in making sure that our medical doctors go through our schools almost for free as compared to their counterparts abroad. And yet you do not use those facilities that you have educated your doctors to work at. So you have to send the right message, and it starts from the beginning, from the top. There's no way now you can call on teachers and tell them to push their children there. So the lesson here is people will always go for what's best for them and for their wards. Yeah. And if what you're providing here in Nigeria is not good enough, whether in education, when it comes to health, people will find a way to move. So this brain drain thing that we're talking about as a nation, this Ondo State story is like a cell of what is happening. That's just, if you have to look at it, that is what's happening across our
That's
nation.
one angle of it, but when the superb chairman of Ondo State is saying it has become, and I'm quoting him verbatim now, said it has become an offense for any public school teacher to take their wards to private school. How is that an offense?
Okay, so I think it comes with a sense of loyalty. I think that when you take pride in the effort you have put on ground, imagine if a principal knows that I've already done, I want personal. If I cannot live in an estate, I will not build the estate for others to live in. If I cannot live in the building, I won't build the building for others. If anything I want to sell, anything I want to give, it must be something I can use. So it is that sense of I would put in my best effort into it. For Subeb chairman to say this, it might just be because they feel like it shows you don't believe in what you're saying. If you cannot put your own children in the school, you don't believe in what you're teaching, you don't believe in the standard of education you're giving to other people's children, and then you will not inspire enrollment in your school because parents, your neighbors see that you are not putting your own children in that school. Where is the principal's child going to? That's the school I want my own children to go into as well. So, but in pure sense, are we punishing the wrong people? Because sometimes the average principal, it's not principal they call them in primary school, the average head teacher already is an adult, and most of their children are grown up. So it might not affect a lot of teachers. Some teachers don't have children in primary school. Whether it's not a case of all my children have already outgrown this level of education. So are we just going to be punishing the few whose children are supposed to be in the school? And is it even a punishment? If we are going to say every school teacher, every civil servant, let us make it a rule that all civil servants put your children in public institution, then we are going to now spread it to all political office holders. Put your children in public institution, because when all of us know that all our eggs are in this basket, we will guide the basket.
But you know something? I know a few teachers in Lagos State have actually pulled their children from private schools to the public schools because they've seen the investment and the change in the public schools. And
they didn't have to be compelled.
They didn't tell me. They didn't have to be compelled. They were told because they've seen that a lot of investment and change. So is it possible that the Ondo State government is actually investing or has invested? I don't know what Ondo State has done, but is it possible that they have seen the investment? If you cannot put your own child in this school that we have invested so much in, then so it's counterproductive for us. So it doesn't encourage other community members to put their children. So you also must be willing to sacrifice and put your children in this school to show that you have bought into the vision of the state, of the changes they're making within that. So that's another angle to look at it.
I think sacrifice connotes something like that.
That's an angle, but the question would be why, after all the contributions and that we're putting towards the school, why are teachers still taking their children out? What is it that we're not doing right, even though we have put so much money towards this? And then you start to ask the questions and ask the proper questions that you have to compel them. For me, that's dangerous. Because the teachers know better than anyone. The teachers within the schools, within the system, would know better than anyone if the schools are good. And the teachers want the best for their children. And if they see,
they should naturally
naturally, in fact,
if
the schools are so good, the teachers will be the first to find ways to bring their children back
into the
so
schools.
Maybe infrastructurally things have improved, but personnel-wise have things improved, curriculum-wise have things improved. Those are the things, and that's what the Fed should be looking at instead of compelling teachers to have their words
penalizing them. Let's take a few comments on social media on either of the topics we talked about so that we can get some perspectives from there.
So, Charles says, making teachers bring their words to school is good, but government officials should set the examples. Teachers are not expected to equip the schools with facilities and staff. Most schools don't have adequate teachers. Bilikisu said, it's not censored that someone is accused of witchcraft, but couldn't rescue herself while... Is it not censored that somebody who is accused of witchcraft couldn't rescue herself while being attacked? Who confirmed that she's a witch to begin with? Everyone that raised hands against that woman should be prosecuted. Glad I didn't see the video.
Yeah, the Chronicles 777 says, can these public schools compete favorably with private schools? It goes beyond the teacher. How about facilities? Secondly, why don't our leaders lead by example? Let all public office holders follow the same trend in Ondo State first before enforcing it. This one says, Akigbe Omolara says, this coming from the government or their representative is quite steep. Are the suburb chairman's children in our public schools? I'm a teacher. My kids went to public school. Let him lead by example.
Interesting. Okay, let's go on a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so before the break, we're talking about the issue about the woman that was beaten up in Abia State because she was accused of being a witch. And our conclusion on that was that we expect that the local community, the local governments, the women leaders, the community leaders, even the church or the mosque leaders, these are the first points of contact for these people, and they should have been able to help and support, not just to help as reactionary, but proactively reorientate the people. In terms like this, we say no to jungle justice. We say no to people taking laws into their own hands, self-help. Community leaders at all levels must be available and present to support people in these kind of situations. And on the topic of suburb, we're still discussing, is it from the governor's office or not? Either way, the suburb chairman representing the governor indeed has said that it is now an offense for teachers not to take their words to public primary schools. And we're saying, is it right to say that? Is it the right time? Is it better for you to improve all public schools and ensure that even your own words, alongside civil servants and teachers, all bring their words to public schools? That, we believe, is the better way. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.